All right. Next, we have Public Works mid-year capital acquisition requests.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm bringing before you tonight a request for 4 mid-year capital acquisitions, a polyblend polymer feed system, a used yard truck, a Hawk water information management system, and an asphalt grinder. So the polyblend polymer feed system, here's a picture of the 2 units at the wastewater treatment facility, are used to assist with solids dewatering at the wastewater treatment facility. So polymer is injected into the sludge material to help separate the solids from the liquid. And staff has tried to repair these existing units multiple times. We've put a lot of investment into them. What happens is they end up dosing incorrectly, which causes our belt press system to stop, which then creates a lot of issues for the operators because we need that belt press working on a continual basis. So what the belt press does is squeeze the liquid out of the solids, so the solids can then go to Recology to use as landfill on a daily basis, and then the water goes into the system to be disinfected and then discharged to the Feather River. So very, very important piece of equipment to be operating properly. So we are looking to purchase 2 polyblend polymer units. We're requesting a sole source purchase to G3 Engineering because they're the only distributor for the area. The cost is $48,128.44, and there are sufficient funds currently available in our budget for this under our major maintenance account. Moving on to the next item. So this is the next phase of the dewatering process. So these, what we did is we took a dump truck at the wastewater treatment facility, converted it with a hitch to be able to move the trailers. So the belt press is up on the 2nd floor of this building. The water is squeezed out of the solids, and then these solids are dumped into these trucks, which our operators move on a daily basis. It's about 1 truck per day. And so with that, the dump truck was never intended to move trailers of that size, and it's very difficult. So we're looking to do a sole source purchase for a used yard truck to Mid-Pacific Industries, which is the only major dealer of used yard trucks in our area. What we did is we went down there, looked at their stock, found one, brought it up in January to actually utilize it at the plant to make sure it could work through the building. And then our mechanic also inspected it. The cost is $55,877.25. Just for reference purposes, a new yard truck would be $120,000. And in the vehicle replacement fund, we currently have $115,000 available for the replacement of that dump truck that we're currently using. And so what we're requesting is that money be transferred to this used yard truck, and the remainder of the money go back to the wastewater fund. The next item is also related to the wastewater treatment facility. It's a Hawk water information management system. Currently at the facility, there's a lot of different systems in which we collect data, report data. And so what happens is on a monthly, a quarterly, and an annual basis, we report to the state. So we have a master spreadsheet, we have the lab information management system, we have the SCADA system, where we try to collect all of this information into these reports reported to the state. Through that, you do have input error. And so what we're proposing with this system, the Hawk Water Information Management System collects all that data into one place, so then you're be able to output reports and then also have the operators have real-time data in terms of the operations of the plant. So what are the benefits of that? You reduce the human error of trying to collect all that data into one spot, which not only reduces staff time, it also reduces the state's time in having to review those reports, get back to us if they found a mistake. Also, it gives the operators the opportunity to see how the plant's operating in real time and make adjustments at that point in time. If something looks like it's not going to meet one of our permit requirements, they can make those adjustments to try to address it before it happens, versus right now, a lot of times you're waiting until you get the information afterwards to make the adjustments. The cost for the system is $47,440. So just as part of the the used yard truck, we were putting money back into the wastewater fund. With this, we're requesting a supplemental appropriation from wastewater funds for this purchase. And then finally, I'm going to move away from wastewater and move to streets. The Street Maintenance Division currently uses older processes to saw cut the roadway to perform patch paving or repair utility cuts. So what are those old processes? It's a jackhammer. And so through that, what's become more standard in the industry is to use a skid steer with an asphalt grinder cold planer attached to do the grinding. So staff evaluated various manufacturers. They're proposing to purchase a Caterpillar 24-inch asphalt grinder cold planer. Our skid steer is Caterpillar, and so in terms of connection to the existing equipment, making sure that it's operating at the correct RPMs, we feel like it's best to move forward with the Caterpillar system. We will go out and get quotes for the equipment, so we're not requesting a sole source on this particular item. The budget amount is $25,000. In the vehicle replacement fund, we have $26,000 budgeted for a compressor that is no longer required. And so we're requesting authorization for the finance director to move the money for the compressor to the asphalt grinder. Some of the benefits of this particular piece of equipment, less time, less manpower. Also, when you're driving through the streets and you see those utility plates that are above ground and you hit them and they're a nuisance, with this we can grind an edge so you can set the utility plates so they're flush with the roadway. So it increases safety, increases the drivability of the roadway for our residents. And so we feel like this is an excellent piece of equipment to add to our equipment inventory. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
To the mayor.
Thank you, Diana. Yes.
So Diana, and you bring up an interesting point. For city operations, the asphalt grinder could be used to flush or drop to flush any type of steel plating that's put over trenching and things like that for ongoing. Is there any thought of moving or advancing requirements for contractors to have the same type of installation for plating, especially when some of that plating will sit currently. If anybody wants to drive past Councilmember Cleveland's house, they might wipe their car out at the intersection of Franklin and Clark with the elevated plating at that location. And there's others. I'm not picking on PG&E. They do a great job, and what they're doing is a benefit to our community. But there's been a number of those as repairs go on.
Right.
So is there a thought of maybe advancing that requirement for
Yes,
contractors?
so not only for encroachment permits, so those are contractors that come in and want to work within the city right-of-way on projects that are outside of the city. We can require that, and then also for city projects, we can request that the contractor do that as well. So when I say city projects, I'm talking about projects that we put out to bid, hire contractors to construct the improvements.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, through the mayor. I did not ask him to make that statement about the area, but it is true. They're doing, wow, the work they're doing out there right now. Good stuff, getting the gas out of the road and in areas and all new systems and stuff is great. Would that grinder also be able to be utilized to lower some of the over time, increased speed bumps on different roads where they push up and create humps and things of that nature? Would that be able to be utilized for that at all?
It really wouldn't be intended for that type of use. There are other grinders for that type of use where it's a defined linear heave, where it's much smaller in size. With this being a 24-inch, you're going to go in and you're going to grind a 24-inch swath of the roadway. So, but we have other equipment that can address that.
Although I don't really want them to remove them on B Street because that is natural speed bumps to keep people slowed down from doing 40 in a 25. So I think that's actually a pretty good thing because people do try to speed and they do get rattled complaining, but what are you doing 40 in a 25 around a school zone? So that is definitely something in the future, though we do have some roads that do need some grinding that I'm going to start reporting because there's some areas that really actually do need. So, thank you.
Great.
So, real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
Just a couple words of appreciation, I'm sorry. But the fact, from what I understand, polymers are a big deal in the wastewater treatment world.
Huge
And,
deal.
yeah. And so, you know, you mentioned the fact that your folks over there, I wish some of them were here, have taken the time to try to repair that and troubleshoot it and do whatever they can before we get to this point of spending several thousands of taxpayer dollars. And I want you to know, I want like them to know that I appreciate that, or we appreciate that. Also, the fact that they did not jump right to a brand new truck. And they're willing to, you know, be conservative and look for a used one and save us, well, half. So for whatever that's worth, we appreciate that.
I'll pass that on.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Great. And I just, as far as the management software, I'm glad to see that we're looking at ways to improve our own processes to make it easier and get rid of human error, or try to avoid it as much as possible. So I think those type of things to look at, the new stuff that's coming in that can help and benefit and reduce the manpower that goes behind it. So it's a savings in that sense too. So thank you for looking at that. All right. With that being said, do we have any additional or motion?
I'll move to approve staff's recommendation, and in light of saving 5 minutes, I won't read it all, but it'll be item A, B, and C, all items that have already been discussed openly in public.
I'll
Do we
second
have a
that.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Got it.